The Swelling Surface by Billy McBride. Copyright 2015. By William McBride. All rights reserved. Here are more poems which I give credit to my angel muses for helping me bring out and share with you. Afternoon passed to free itself into a perfect silver sleep. Another peaceful day came far. It flowed thin like the river. Fish are by the sand in the shadows. Underwater. Under a little rain. The fullness of a kingdom of happiness. Nature recycles its reality. We hide on the surface in our homes. A path of light is swelling above. Brown trees on the landscape seem smug by the flowers on its floors. Elaine with Billy McBride. The night stimulates a change. The home of the day follows, and as it gets more crowd power, the public then chausses to work. Sticky leaves tower above. They never fear the flood of sunshine. I must wait here for happiness without complaining, as it hurts to hide from love. Day bears our rewards. We come as covered individuals who end with the day and dream as lights fall away from the sky. Lisbeth III. A poet forgets the words when he travels with his memory into silence. Silence holds on to his day, but he learns to find some resolution. Who does not love a practical blessing? The music fits with the simple light. Truth takes me not to any paradise, yet life rises through the universe. Silence collaborates with the silent. Even while an endless light scatters in the kingdom, there is gloom that lies in some who idle, while a few more will find justice in the sun. Frick but IV. Blooms illuminate the words, and more come without pain. The years limit our light. Nature finds herself with flowers. Spring claims the trees, and brings fullness to the world. A proud freshness is building on the branch, the green it reflects. One uses wisdom for healing, though kisses work better to solve the pain. Nature herself spins with no kisses for me. It is beyond nature when one gains a friend. AMV weather can remove the beauty from a day. It spares neither landscape nor air when wind rolls with a darkness that pours from the heavens into the light. What follows is a practical patience when rain attacks the morning life. Women and men ride out its project. The powers outside unloosen until the end. I am free to shout with happiness. Words heal what existence dims. Heaven needs me in its light, and I will stay here though it hurts to be without people. Aura to ferret at VI. I value an outrageous weather shining and building within the day. I choose to loiter when I feel my worth. If a storm comes, I go within. One outgrows the fancy country. The wind stops creeping around. One learns on the heights of a mountain that its shadows fall into heaven. Simplicities put on their show. The universe bores a proud man. Eternity catches up to the imaginative, and every light opens into a divine day. AMVI. An afternoon rises proud, and daffodils bloom, and roses. Contradiction ruins the kindness when a storm claims the skies. I look for art in nature. Use the marketplace for flowers sometimes. They clear a pathway for my genius, and cure me of an illness. Sickness dims an ending. Contradiction again fails to please. One flatters oneself with knowledge and complexity, remembering art is just a human away. Penelope VI. Another gave this Yankee his pleasance. I attacked the white of my mother. Wrestling for fire I was left far behind. But there was a gentleman who granted civility to be fair. If only these hands could have freed themselves for wings then. So much truth hurt. Having been impatient for death. Those tricky powers of contradiction in life I had. I was creeping. A naked smell. Pining for the weed. When in an igloo outside I trusted in the hole. An icy admiral ended my speeding. He gave water my burning. And weeping he put out that fire. Elaine IX. A worm waited in the pear. It was hunted by a horde of birds. Horses were whipped by polo men. Their day hosted an emergency to race. Dishes of the sea were washed by the tide ladies. Water swished in the shallow, while reprobances stole their pearls, and left the damsels in a wet hell. A limited school for the television widow. Saw words leaked out the ass. Bunny Boo Boo smiled. Proud to be king ringed upon his turkey toiletry. Yaffa X the steel swished, bathing my limbs. I blinked for rogue. Money drained of Eris in Las Vegas. The years used my readings against me. The bravest faltered in their honors. Luck turned to beer. One met solitary King John himself. The universe opened into television. Stimulated by a creepy leech. The admiral dozed with Bridget. The thunder followed them into Texas, where they lived naked, forever paradised by Ariel. Elaine 11. The pillow bore a dangerous pleasure. Hemlock powered loud the dream as a happiness popped the friendship out, and sleep rocked its way towards forever. Our Lord had piled up a world of guilt. Texas labored to join the universe, Brother and sister walked naked on their journey. Their mother rode her coffin into ain't hell. The Yankee above us all coughed poorly, and dawn rose responsible as ever. Its progress rung our day's bell, and formed an idol of its heavenly dope. Donner's eye. A graveyard that was committed to the weeds was licked of the beauty of trees. Valentine laid down, selfish and fearsome, and sunk into a pit for robbers to enter. During our limited marbled anti-paradise, every day oped overhead for the unlived. Herbic players stashed their loot underground. The bride read on the horizon. MOAI. A thunderbird brought its troll here, who sported villain word, villain game. His ignorance peaked in the dusk and moonshine while a slapping stubborn night starred mock kisses and jerk breath. Diana's eye. A flame reflected on the top of the mountain. Gold hell hoped to be difficult. The flood worked the world all, and underworld lawyers clapped loud. The sink drained a silvery water, the billows breathed in of old, and cash bridged the darkness from all my woe tied to that spring of fire. A crazed weed clone once, a pot ghost, sold in time, as weather gained rain by her lust for dope. A serpent enchanted Egypt from her malcut. Yafaziv. A rude shepherd followed a hellish road. He dozed on a whitened island. One day he leaped into the mirror at night when April was milked with spices. Cracked popped a reprobance and backbone. As a slave labored for oatmeal and water, he died in a jolt to forgive him. Hurt by the death of the shepherd, a new Texas poked out of the green. Wealth was freed by the earth and fire. A chaotic sea sunk or evaporated away while the man-hawk favored the worldwide secret. Thrickbot XV. I had figured out the time of the tides, and I rushed to touch the sea. I was granted finally the kingdom I had wished for by the hurricane that descended from the sky. My patience had hungered for some drama. I had never been pleased until that season when I got redemption for my silent problem as the ocean foamed with a chill. Wounded by many tales of love, I walked with a compass in late spring. Powered by my task to be hugged well, I reached eternity alone with my angels. Diana's V. I remembered the annihilation of their hands. It was an electrically icy day. Tomorrow had closed up forever as ships parted from the frozen city. Barbarians gripped the books I left. Eternity had conquered their own hands. Their world fit into the richest sea as blueness dropped from the clear sky. 10,000 lit wisdom and were shielded from the books, defeated by a stronger sorrowful being whose mincert alienated still their scorn, whose supply locked off their plain day. Auras vi. The promise had touched and penalized me. The incessant idled in Tennessee. Thine whitened truth loved to hang ward towards me. A dart. All good was forgot while mating with me, and my fallen want put me twice into the matter. The stupid boys lit up with daffodils sped into ruin. Again they lit brown candles, and Emerson healed their words. Yisrael won the bend. Evaporated tower after tower as indeed we must all. Ariel's vi. The snakes aimed at Alf and Beth, and wild honey enslaved a wishy fish. Death limited the look of a lurk. In water I was found drunk. A wall was erected. Repulsive. Sadness drained the snakes away. My scattered potential would pass too as hilly piles followed. The spinning monarch stole a notebook, and wrung it in glory while horsing around and stretching out. Many recollections were stripped from it. The weeds around had built their own heaven. Kabbalah 6. God conquered the danger with an arrow. He put his endwork in the water and caught the lost kingdom. Pain had won over and celebrated. Many were drunk and bad. The dire shrieked and slid down. I loosely bloomed to work, and was left stuffed with a necklace. The drunk were found, wishy on the tuft. Some had collaborated against the tuft to be taught. It was honey that was in the hole. They all had poorly idled for their reward. Diana XX. Death banished me from my selections. Hungry, I dressed for yonder tuft. I had heard to pass into the water which turned my apprehension underground. Water rained and bled. The sadness used to be read. A wooden stage comforted some, while that heavenly sadness surfaced. But more feared not dropping into the grass. They met the slinging spring. Any drunk was as destructive as when a death is used poorly to span across the day. Ora to ferret it with Billy McBride's Xi. When the natural was banished, I trod myself into a sleep. I had read of a wetness to come, and stole the show to give out melodies. The worshipped healed my ceramic. A repulsive hedge gave to a starry drunk a rough ugliness. It hawked a dire fire, which moved its victory over the flowers, and faltered not the contracts of my party. An outside is loosely used, but I was shocked by the ladies with the snakes, just as the wise might reflect poorly about the world. A music branched to span over the flowers. Elaine's Xi. A gleam crawled over the leaf. I checked that it was tipped lighter. The lost dried unfrozed. Snakes breathed a fanatic prayer. Danger tested the fire. It rained on my coat a celebration. And falling drove me into the kingdom. Sensations went and the ladies died. My hunger was again to fail me. Another formal farewell fit itself. The wet shore wiped itself when nightmarish nature ended weakened by its gold. Teresa with Billy McBride's XI. Falsehood played. A machine that cracked its springs with hope and honor blew out to be told. The outside waved in potential efforts. Reminded. I clocked out and grew up. I went hungry around the wall. And ate on a heavenly silver plate. A coming formal music sued me red. The characters cured and wrote their harps. They looked crazed enough by the giddy water. A goner was ended by the snakes. Yet, he knew that the end was not to be. Bertha with Billy McBride's XIV. Characters sighed for contracts. They desired an angel's wooden hill. Water rolled in the mind. And the endwork blew into existence. Against the nomads I gained bad victory. The tide played in sin. Wetness roughed the fools. With these feats they breathed in their reward. Throats stimulated the deals of ladies. The end tasted worldish. The tide dozed from its span. Its body painted by a practical heavenly spring. Ariel XXV. A sparkle enchanted the characters who scored a potential song from me. Gifts rode our yesterday. The show foamed, sending us toward some contracts. Pain wounded the drunk. The fullness sunk and failed the lonely all. The fire popped wild, and rushed with the rival leaves. A story parted, rounding up mist again. My diviner hurt in the gloom. A drop showed itself down, and died in the flowers in its silver fall. Bertha XXVI. Delighted by their mother's song. The leaves milked more beauty. Her tunes freed the ugliness. A dear jester sunk down. Patience had left us beauty. The wise had to hurt to interpret it well. They walked for painful flowers, and the jester remembered the king. A mystery foamed in prayer, and a thunderbird overcame us in the gloomy flowers. Our actual sparkle had died many lives to gleam when it hungered for its own worldish wishy yesterday. Elaine with Billy McBride XXVII. The bleeds powered many sadnesses. A deafening wooden wall stole over my body. Mystery oozed its telepath and loud leaves as Hashem himself desired to celebrate. My own notebook's trusted efforts quick dried to pop. Seeing less exposed, I lit my ink to read the throat. An idiotic goner was locked into a formal water. Flowers thinned for the bluebird. To the end the wise traveled, but their practical feats diverted the end for them. Diana XXVII. Robbers outgrew the babyish lord of food. Those friends had lost, and their lives reshuffled as their downwardnesses loved nothing. They returned to win back what had made them so poor. Their roaring kisses had dropped numerous around. As the roots caught resolution, it happened to blast those connections when your own battle fit in with the promontories. Health named the flaws, with apology for them. I blinked clearly as another's word lived to assure me to go to the sad limited feast feared by all. Lisbeth's 6. Committed to the knock. A slave of skies had licked the sinny comment from our eyes. He left behind old lightning out of fear for those to find impudent and weird here. Erected villain moonshine dish to fight. It drained a fonder blacksmith of his might, who idled terrible for one to blow when checked a circle ward his dying foe. Crawled forgetful, I to make renew from scattered feasts the thunderbird withdrew. My bride bloomed thick with fish all overcast, her limited poem ringing out the last. Aura aura to ferret at XXX. The reprobinson named the way unkind. The jerked had faced no healing of his mind. In place stole nothing, breaking out of sight, and drained the tap of day into the night. That landscape stimulated with provide. We followed best that reprobance to guide. Years got the healing people to survey. Fair parents rode our weeping all the way. A camp was bitter as the money air. A bearded shaking fool had come out there, and left a bunny boo-boo and his name that foamed with serpent silver for his fame. Thrickbut XXXI. Somewhere a pretty voyaging withered up, wandering worried my severe ears. So I oozed a righteousness of old, and died eastward into my heaven. I, thinned in fight destroyed by horny evil, was washed of thou on seashores. My lost secretive word was visionary and afraid. Idly my wife gave to my sides societies. We were whipped from the world by many goblins. Our impatient day knotted and locked as the sides put Davarim to God. Perak XXXII. The troll revealed a ringing to his shame and dropped in battle readings for more fame. The seaman gave his luck forgetful fight, and whipped the sinny thousands in their flight. I told Columbus bringing out to land to harbor a return to roots and sand. He shadowed fruits and congregations bold and leaked his hellish candle on the fold. As parents ended words, that golden head had paced an engine word up from the dead. It roared the thicket marbled with a ring as robbers dried the absent of their string. Ora ora to ferreted xxxii. The weak, in waited unloved way, had lost the blast of knowing day. They washed desires with sunken eyes and dropped around their ancient sighs. A music ended words of night that gave away a villain's flight. The child was never fond of shade until he won a Gnostic maid. A blacksmith stopped beginning skies that were forgot by weird replies which lit the face to double stage. A learned patience, ruin and rage. Penelope XXXIV. The sea exposed a drifting dame who idled coughing for her fame. Some music warred our clear sad lord. It washed the poor to be restored. A villain dropped a ringing ray that ended all our ruined day. A word had stopped the lively shore from defeat by a storm for more. We learned a healthy play below, and knew the mock was not a foe. To put in kisses kindly powers, we lit the needed naughty towers. Teresa XXXV. The builders gave tomorrow bed. They ward the muse in frozen spread, and put core winter into light. I hoped to stretch the pleasant sight. I turned the water with command and brought a patience with my hand. My branches sped the stirring day as others heard my restful play. They looked the years to turn a wall. I fed the days with giving all. It hurt to jerk electrically, to meet in homes the strong and free. Teresa XXXVI. The water slept on shielded ground. It stashed from weather as it wound. The dancers placed a richest prize and stole the light from smoking flies. An angel fed me rays at night, and mentioned much to sound of sight. I used a wee hope for my ear. It shocked my sisters then to hear. A musk turned into worldwide strength, and felt experimental length as it reflected words of might and crushed revenge to swallow right. Thrickbert XXXVII. Few returned to being good. The tides touched as in those many books of angels. A promise penalized, and for the early angel, was picked. An American entered. For what happened was celebrated. In that April, we were left with a truth as the tides of any other river would stall. It can be made worldwide. That pleasance, and you would have raised up to the players at the top. Under the lordship's show, I was scattered among the making of spices. The island was part of the sprinkled winter. It gave us much in the furnishings of rivers. Elaine's XXVI. Stranger Benedict hid what Dromio stole in clouded Syracuse. He was demanding of Messina. Lady Macbeth brought under her bath in branching Scotland a route. Portia used the destroyers in machine-sprinkled Venice. Henry V fell to celebrate a man in green France. Macbeth read of the world. His birth in a Scottish prison. Lisbeth XXXIX. I slept the morning charter. I was in a furious gold cloud that held up a problem of the spices in the spring wholesomeness. Unqueed spies held out their mirror. The American light was a debt, and the lamp named but bitter show wildly colored by the builder. With a yawl, I was crushed by the water. Stinky American hope. Desire fit me to my demon with its good lordship's jolt. Thrickbert XL. When the glory of the flower faltered, its show was only once past and colored. Then it sped into a drama that was feared. Its malcut in completion. An American sported to come without a halcyon. I myself parted to take some time with the books of the worlds. The funny worlds were what the weather ruined during the soul's drop as the shielded rained. I was hugged of the bravest as the patience stole away. My wishes were what smarted poorly. The builders were stretched without scorn. But the fallen never slept engulfed by any debt to our climate. Amy with Billy McBride XLI. The date hid with a sad self, who brought thousands of weeds to the rugged deep. A troll was ringing and had chosen for them many roads. A pissy leak parted the room over time. Ruin played together with a peaceful Gnostic. We were spared a blind patient, who told us to ring the book over the roads that these wolves went on daily watering. Another villain poured another ring, and misted this call in a battle. A date was desired so thick and chosen that these breaths gained a flame from the jerk. Shay XLII. I shared the poem to turn it fair. It bagged one prim and herbic air, and reined an engine to its fate as bad as servants gained their state. They dried it falling for its truth, and rolled forever into youth. It shattered banishing their care, and stimulated cash to share. Woe dozed a flood machine in part. Some people rode that way with art, which parted breaking to the end when robbers powered to ascend. Ariel XLII. Be you broken by a money flame that having more you should not desire to falter, until a worry hurts with hopeful woe, and more despair rushes out another league. Unless the best ice is up, to steal away is little dream. the very lawyer labors of the water, that such in falling closes up a ghost and would by a remembering be spotted. The clone of himself fears the breaths of his wife as ever lowers ash of sleeping stubborn, although a bitter gold shows up in hands. Still hands grip those hands that will not free an icy loop for healing. Honey XLIV. We can inspire a sunny friend. This is a care that can attend, and you delight in smoking vain, if they have feelings so to strain. Into some crazed shells we are born, all that we fight of cloven mourn. She came gyrating with a look and of this thrall a water shook. So forward leaps eternal wall as she all oozes ancient fall to see the hated fear unblind that I have had of rushing mind. Aura XLV. Though you diverted room and ring to rest to a severe world seashore be expressed, will be named by a darkness of your powers, you still will trust your home with knotted towers. Let that lost darkness pretty much be moved, if you again are willing or approved. I may be laying gold to be restored when I shall make a parting with the Lord. Of our most hung up icicles one broke, and with the lords and ladies to provoke, I have to roar chaotic or reject. Have you no secretive for this effect? Ame XLVI. If any multiplying fits my soul, it's knowing dying drops to put control. Collaborating for some luck around, the very favorite wanders to the ground. I come with candle weeping dear and slow unless I blink. To fate descends a foe, it is an honor living for that ride. Although the dancing congregations died, I am as double thunderbird denied. My thick height rises watering my pride with music wild while ringing I was sent that I might slave for all who came and went. Ame XLVII. To glow the ages hose a blacksmith bleeds, that all your watering names what it leads, that never I would slide beyond the air, I would still drain more coughing from out there. They wish the night to offer up his cries, I think his warty car descends the skies, that should be built of lightning or of light to leave the double date without a fight. If I were not destroyed, I'd lay my way, I'd ring the villain thither out from day. This is a music wild, a leaking force, that ever rose and rested hellish course. AMALXVIII. Ignorance flings its beauty in this battle, it glows thick and yet does not face its own ruin. When ringing if we are to cough lightning, then let the troll smile to call his thousands. A word licks me to knock me over, but with a dear battle Columbus will be coughing his cough, as will a villain, but your own cough limits you. The halak him can be a part toward it. A deer course is blind, and of the dumb, a double steals. Columbus and his prim fish build the fears, and you yourself live up to your badder thousands. I have no halak him that do not night the weird. Honey XLIX. Penelope would worry often then a grandma. She was less of arrows yesterday. To laugh at progress she had not soon been lowered into a watery grave from her men it bothers to power her hymn. The morning oozes to you at home in your bay. The bill now here that paints the petals of deals is a far more lewd one to inspire you amongst the eternity that steals your vacant night. A home reveals a mystical aura in your closer inglorious ways. Most of the daffodils multiply their lives. The sad and angry misfiature with them evaporates into your desiring them to know poorly to dare, before their greatness is defeated. Penelope with Billy McBride you lugged from the demon a thin fold. Whither shall we pay it late and loud his gift? A spirit tinkers iced before his furnished hold or the spirit is beguiled in points by him. Moaning now then I will frame a change, to sell with him a long walk early on. The arguments are here engulfed in favorite walls. I battle from the buttons of sunrays a daring stop. These goings on would heave the outdoors into greatness. Will I attack the atmosphere that changes me? It leaps to my still rolling sleepy aura. These closer feelings desire that people reign instead. Penelope Li. We do begin when naming our weatherly democracy, and we would have dried the tikva and shalom, but to stain it white and dream of mother. The beauties around are like our idled parents. Out of a fanciful skyward white, I was committed to the lighter shore. I built a tropic to have the glen feared by my peers. Over the field will I free the white confession that I do blink at removing the knowledge as I must at last. Deceiving men riders, I live before this farm of rushing shadows. My doxy home would leak a tropical call for a home to slide into but I shall betray the shalom. I think that by rising Miltonic I shall be swayed. Teresa Lee. Why do you follow the weedy daffodils to the sea to flash my angel? I will not appoint the sand to my ears, but to print the soul upon the walls of a late paradise. I am by handing out my blessing much a furnished spirit. Out of a suffering we esteem the walls, as the outdoors fool me with their strong atmosphere. Desires sprinkle so, but as they rant are closed up at my heart, which by the added spirit argues from unpleasant and low eyes. If my sad demon follows, then I will freeze elite, and will then roll the great spirit now that he strives to enchant. He is my complaint, but he grew the daffodils. He pays noiselessly so much for his dimmed and piled up weeping. Penelope Lee. By all that fails, deceivers strive to train, but not yet order rushes to be plain. We all do no more pin our lips than I to back a fiddler fallen from up high. These lips miss future breasts of our lost skies. I would be so remembered by replies. I would not battle worlds in which we dwell. My moon dares not to pay for pounding hell. Your lonely shields the grey old grandma sees. Alice. I am at Blackberry and breeze like checked cycles that roar the mummy dame and all the honeyed night when father came. Honey live. I never can inspire the corny plain in the farm fuzz to show itself in vain like more of that foul home that wets the lay. That, since I cursed it, alienates some way. If fiddler corn forgets to be so found while something I can trust sports on the ground. Hal is most low in wishing us to cease his own to proofread just to find some peace. And though man steals some blackberries in flight from all their curtained floors that pass through light, he would in watery talk reflect the blessed. The garden turns so warm and free, his breast. Chez LV. Dalmatian's farm is where the prayer appoints some night. In Brooklyn lost will I exhibit an answer to inspire that sight. And here I hope the music fails itself, for by its means the peaceful even sicken in a sadness. A spirit asks me, why do you gleam foul Dalmatian? I will not rant. The night has fallen green. The watery peacocks droop. I must not tumble like them, or fail. Now I am frosted with menace sensitivities. But to charm with music, clasp and slide the answer, and sell the farm for all this dabbling with time. How may I shout to white the farm of music, to dabble in the air a little a fool, and out of the jolly rush search for prayer and for my deep home. Frick but LVI. Where is the unforgiving drake to scorn who is like a shielded check to my own progress? Out of a throat a mummy engulfs the low. The drake leaped so you may not be hungry for hell. Here by the order I promise to break the corn. We do no selling of our peaceful secrets. The fallen ask me, will I ever dim or die of sadness? Upon my clothes there is for you to witness a dagger of my progress. A hungering man of this Brooklyn. I resolve my legs, and expect to have them last like granted daffodils. Wine shows up on my epithalamion from everybody, and pounding the floors. I am by the rings whispering the glory back into the music. Yaffa LVII. Let us poke the piano furnished in another's heart. Amongst us is oozing a rush to trust. With white sprinkles or with strong Pierre you drive, and you shall foam rubbed and changed all grey. You are no mountain of a dewy dirge. Your time itself is like the leap of a lawn frog, that I tested but never could roll out. So I spark the naughty grass and honor it. And if that heals us, then you yourself must lock to the exquisite world for other goodbyes. For Schlishkel will I orient my pleasance. Let us fit together to know the thrust of our forever. For now there thins a musical much, which I for one can end if traveling to the mother. So I will disobey what I must do to love myself. Donna LVII. We meet in foam and are made to spare the grass. You shall descend sailing into Shalom. Is this a fire that rests for thousands in our home now that the knowledge of all of this change spins angrily? The thing over all of us catches and thins the thorn. What woods rest by the box and in its sleepy white little atmosphere that one labors so to stop with a caring as the shadows multiply. Let me too outgrow the matter and let us get to build up an atmosphere with the troll. Neither peaks come from their shadows nor from the dear day. At the ruins I cannot get myself from river to the elf. I'll have to make do. The beings of the weather tell of lost elves. I wonder if like the wind if this is hell's master who is dying strong. Marbalix. How shall I inveigle your sweet aura minded on the hill? What dark day is this that the river and the acorn make the woods? I live to yawn, for I can progress my apology with greatness. The cops always have known it, and it shadows hell and day. It will not sadden painfully the scarlet outdoors. Is this my name I point to in the weedy daffodils? You yawn and all your furnished pennies conquer Pierre. Time sticks all of us who speak for our democracy. For Ryan for the roots we banish in our hole. You look again. You and I shall sleep in landscapes with our cherries. Knowledge is no better stinking than the best. I too must pass for myself since that the good hole is now fanciful. Elaine LX. I think that by lasting friends we jacket our fine feud. Has the musical home we build any pleasant sailing suite? My muse jerks me to be friends with the greatest lawyers who use the musical morn for comfort, rubbing their shoulders with her, and I light freeze our fears to have them roll like berries down a hill. Here by the lawyers' meetings will some doxy ever mother closest. To daring deals will I ruin myself upon the shore, and make that labor right which must sleep in 20 dreams. It is from shocking not that we will jacket the goblin who looks for gum and lets us lust for wattles of our farm. What heavenly breath is this, inspired, that passes me through life? Will it not be crushed like a wind shunned by the sun rays? Diana LXI. The wet horseman blew over a little, an angry one cuddled the sea. The angel needed to change from an exquisite white to blue. The kingdom that was built by the horseman was named. The strong thorn was never looted by the elves on the mountain. The elves sniveled about the lightning in the woods. They came and unlocked an acorn on the hill. The wind strengthened, and was heard. Cans announced the master and his pin. Sincere trees aired out after the rain. For candy I dared to look on Hell Hill. In hellish shadows I dabbled for a heavenly ruin. Bertha with Billy McBride LXII. It would not have roared my name Billy if I had not parted, and someone else was to be hugged in the storm that blew. And then as it pinned shadows and lightning to the matter, were I to have been stimulated by the wood some more, I would have had to come to heaven. Your one fine apology helped me that day. It freed the dark in the woods and daffodils, which I had chosen to floor, needed by my suffering. With all my sensitivities I feared our play in the bower had the same to point out. Nature was not once powered by our lives outdoors. I would have so opened bare my life to it, but I wandered over its roots beguiled and sunken. Promontories rose but to me were as usual ruined by the kisses. I bitterly blinked to have it miss future some great return. Yaffa LXII. I have in my blessed buttons enabled a demon. It remembers for me, and I name it sensitively a daffodil. I walk to it now. It will bloom from much knowledge as another fine day floods the ground with light. Berries have sunken and often lurked in bushes. I will not ring out with my greatest inspired peers today since my own aura rises up like a curtained portrait, but to destroy the unpleasant atmosphere of jealousy, I think best. If that you crawl somewhere calling out to heaven to say your goodbyes. Imagination lives with your feeling, and you get what you ask. With jealousy, most of our worthy beauties from us part when people begin to feud. So instead I will admire the beauty of this portrait of me this evening. Bertha LXIV. The answering sky above the sheep glows a deep green. It slides to the bay where time proof reads itself. A return of thought shall be limited by a gargoyle vacantly staring at all. So much for the jolly faces of time. Our secrets sink where their progress is checked. Every bird calls before its 10,000 like the peaceful shadow that thinks itself to sleep in order to bridge the hills with its flight. An experienced secret cracks not me in a whisper. Night and day we hope to solve the wisdom of our paradise yonder. I'll spin out my own interpretations of paradise too, and where it bridges a parting of roads and flight, I will drive that bridge as this push of death ships me toward a peaceful sexual heaven. Ariel LXV. Pushing out again. The voice at the shadow constructs a line. The mind pays for it that it still fit into a whisper for its home, but its wisdom never could be so lost without act or ending. The brain fails not once during any pretty night. So few have become drained of paradise on its peaceful roads. Either we scorn our night or these messages return with the day piled up. A soul calls most of our dog days experienced which these interpretations blow over to air out for a reasonably nutritious wisdom. I think by ending my thin prayer then to sing with a vacant music, my aura will sicken less over time for the wide and lushy shore. To that ocean I must join my heart. With that blue money gained there is a more peaceful song from the deep outdoors than I can ever answer. Shay LXVI. The music rubbed strong Pierre while the lawn changed its honor. A leap over the dewy grey of the mountain has ended his pleasance. The sprinkles disobeyed him. The end to a musical mountain never could be thus changed without him. We disobey him too to honor him. We have pleasance forever to leap up after our own dirge from under the roots. Sinking again in a saddened progress. The scarlet shadows look again for sleep. Outdoors the day makes its apology that the landscapes have banished us from their democracy. Perak with Billy McBride LXVII. These roots of our interpretations to go to paradise. They bridge and sink and return us to it. Another bird parts from my own interpretations. Our parting from paradise and lust was a shock. Lust is shunned. Rubbing with pleasance is not dead. With a shocking heavenly lust, the shore dreams. This is what we are inspired by as we pass its sleep. We are too shocked by its heavenly look. As I orient my pleasance with this world, on the musical exquisite grass, I find trust in testing its thrust as I leap over it for pleasance forever. Bertha LXVII. When curious, Will Kelly wander from out her carriage far? More contracts shall make all time rest in contradiction. At the garden, faced with recollections, I shall wish for music not sadness. These mystery selections are welcome during the worst of the 5th month. Kelly may think by lurking on a walk to remember me amongst the piano while weeping. A thunderbird pounds, and I bring messages to her, waving my lips adieu. Yet all worlds idle with Kelly. The grey cliffs yonder are scattered. The shore graces upon us its imperfect supply of seawater. She I found there, and our words made us touch. How shall Kelly and I find a limit to our favorite day when our pleasance drains not our pure glory? Teresa LXIX. Angel Kelly stashes it on the shore for the world. Her yesterday passed away reasonably hurled, while morning is met in a poor sleep below. Her notes bring glory to her steeper brow. A worse turn crosses, but we dance to the pole, and a right reason lulls us in control. My team ruins the middle of the cliffs from the deep, yet Kelly holds a flag for the time to keep. Glory inveigles my team up high. Idiocy defeats all the words of a lie. My angel Kabbalah locks a story to her story so that we know, but in sleep I forgot to write it down below. Shay LXX. How shall Kelly agree to cling to the billows? The bugle that she blows amuses an awesome couple who comfort her, and to whom Kelly will rush her aid. We avoid not her, nor the contradiction, nor the abyss. Annihilated from that circular architecture, and from charity for now. I contradict with Kelly between avoided atmospheres. She thinks by acting absent, our charity shall begin, and it will, but Kelly shall free up our countless accounts first of it. For this, Ariel grants an eye to Kelly. She and I whisper at the blackened abyss. One would have to help her cross the brine, but Kelly shall close up her commitment to follow the billows out. Lisbeth LXXI. A word at least knocks out of the lightning. Grouchy must go toward it now to face the battle. An angel from the thousands comes with a life to build. Is this that same angel who labored in the new chaotic clouds for our resolution? It will not be hard to find the light of the sun, though gloom idles in this endless kingdom for now. It is not yet come into our great silence, for none can celebrate it, but tomorrow we will like the landscape. Thunder and lightning have the knowledge every day to learn. One never could be so rewarded by just passing them on as Grouchy will not journey the grassy dust without others, but to swagger paradised. We somehow return with our questions all. Grouchy LXXII. At night will Shay sprinkle the trees with starlight? Though in the shadows Angel Shay will not pay attention to the arguments to pass our day. She will roar into morning with her comforting word. You are tinkering with happiness too, with its menocycles. Shall Shay be remembered by the outrageous stars that have through the garden scattered deep? The world is like a destroyed answer to our golden forever, but to rush with it is storm from air. The curious light that must shield itself from us seems more deserved than ever. Shay must not shout to bring us into that light. Stuffed with our things we see the answers and they are obscure since in all the weather that we do not love, we cannot celebrate yet with our own reward like her. Shay LXXII. A kiss wanders upon me from Thrickbert. The day glows. She I always find moving along in happiness. We view the mist with Angel Thrickbert. It is welcome. The angel aims most of the day to her own smile and word. Amongst the garden she wishes us freshness. Cycles of hope rise up, and Thrickbert thinks by healing our blooms we will live in them. There is a peaceful tomorrow because she blinks. These blinkings ring over the atmosphere into happiness. Thrickbert would have to come back to brighten more. Unto the day the stars themselves collaborate at night. Angel Thrickbert is a strong blessing, a healing light. Now that she follows my soul towards heaven, there is a meaning in her passing kiss. Thrickbert LXXIV. I'll be judged when it emerges again with everything else. The weather, which once had troubled me, but to pay me back endlessly, it should have come. Angel Ariel is like a mockingbird in spite of all those cycles reciting her good reasons to live well. Hear her music at my heart now. Out of the tulips the inspired angel roars by the hilltop. Ariel stops but to write on my breath her middle prayer. Never could the angel have those letters change with my voice. She is experienced, and we often have had our reception upon a pretty shore. See how the racy day must touch our wide lives. Every day is like another, a fancy new favorite, but Ariel will not hear anyone rant today. She constructs upon her care a grace not in vain. Ariel LXXV. Will Angel Kelly now wish for me some sleepy spaces to rest? With her is an evening righteousness. She is good. To my wounds she is welcome and simpler than the shore. Kelly I know builds up in my memory these many monuments. She and other angels do it over many multiplying years for good. The angels sing and dream with our childlike world in the fields. These widest acts would give a pause for a while to the weather itself for Kelly to rest here on the ground upon its surface as she laughs. So Kelly has beheld her own comfort and fullness. She shall be the one who passes again the musical world to me when my wisdom drains away the crossing and sinks into the water, since she is a wealth of more bearable worlds that stretch into forever. Kelly Finnis.